On January 3rd, 2022, Trae Young recorded one of the greatest performances in NBA history. 56 points, 14 assists, while hitting 17 of 26 from the field. That included 7 3-pointers and 15 out of 15 free throws. No player in NBA history has ever had 56 points and 14 assists in a single game. But there was just one problem. The Hawks lost the game. This has been the story all season long. You'd see Trae pop off, but the rest of his team has taken a step back. This was a team that recently made the Eastern Conference Finals, 2 games away from defeating the eventual champion Milwaukee Bucks. Fast forward a year later, and now they're not even in the playoff race, despite having basically the same roster as before. What went wrong? How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today let's break down the Hawks' struggles and what led to this severe drop-off. Also, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe. If you like the content, drop a sub or a like, and thank you so much for the support. The defense went from bad to horrible. Now, the Hawks previously were not a good defensive team by any metric. They were 21st in the league in defensive rating, but they still had some strong points when it came to their defense. For example, in the 2020-21 season, the Hawks were top 10 in the league in defending shots at the rim. The Hawks' game plan was to funnel players into that area, into Clint Capella, and force opponents to take a contested shot, which worked somewhat decently. A year later, the fall-off is quite evident in the percentages, as the Hawks dropped to 28th in defensive rating this season. The problem is that they're having difficulties defending the rim and the paint as a whole. They're now dead last in opponents' field goal percentage within 5 feet of the basket, as opponents are now shooting a league-best 63.5% against the Hawks in that area. Capella's individual defense saw the biggest drop-off, going from holding opponents to 52.9% shooting to 61% now. That's almost the same difference between Rudy Gobert and Nikola Jokic. Capella last season was closer to being on Gobert's level of defense, but now he's essentially as good of a defender as Jokic, which is not good at all. With other areas of the floor, the Hawks' defense has remained similar compared to before. It's mostly the paint defense and rim protection that took a major drop-off, due to Capella's regression. I don't think it's all his fault though. He's been dealing with numerous injuries throughout the season, including a lingering ankle problem that hampered his quickness and mobility. Plus, on the perimeter, it's much worse. They got nobody out there stopping opposing guards from penetrating the defense at will. That's the main reason why they got rid of Cam Reddish in the first place. A lot of people criticized the Hawks for trading him away, for essentially nothing. But when he was there, he hurt the team way more than people thought. An article from The Athletic described Reddish like this. He gambles too frequently in passing lanes, and the player he's guarding gets around him either to the basket or wide open for a jumper when those gambles fail. Oftentimes, he's out there swiping for steals, and when it doesn't work out, the Hawks are left in vulnerable spots. Overall, the Hawks are dead last in transition defense, allowing 1.25 points per transition. It wasn't only Cam Reddish doing that either. The crazy thing is, the Hawks' offense is superb. Among the entire league, they're second in offensive rating, and they've been one of the league's best offenses for a long time. On any given night, they can outscore, they can outshoot their opponents. So if they were even just an average defensive team, they'd be in the discussion to be contenders. But they're not, they're horrible. Stagnation. Usually, it's not rare to see young players regress and get worse as they reach their primes. It happens sometimes, but it normally doesn't happen to almost every player on the same team. Every major rotation player, with the exception of Trae Young, has seen their production dip compared to the previous year. John Collins, DeAndre Hunter, Kevin Huerter, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Danilo Gallinari, and especially Clint Capella. All of their key players have stagnated in their progression, which is alarming. It makes us think that the younger guys like Collins, Huerter, and Hunter are not going to get much better. They didn't improve like we thought they would. So I know that they aren't having any problem scoring the ball, but there is noticeably less ball movement than before. As a team, they're averaging about 262 total passes per game, which is the third fewest in the NBA. The year prior, they averaged 274 passes per game, which was around middle of the pack. It feels like a lot of possessions just end up dead, and in order to save the possession, they just toss the ball to Trae and watch him do something. So many possessions end up like this, with Trae Young playing hero ball. And thankfully for the Hawks, it's been working because he's so good. Dude's carrying the entire offense. Still, this is not a consistent way to win games. The Hawks are desperately missing another guy who can reliably create plays or just create their own shots. Players are often standing around watching Trae, with less movement and less touches. The offense is less fluid and more stagnant. But if Trae wasn't bailing them out, they'd be a lot worse offensively. The impact of Trae is seen in the on-off metrics as well. When he's on the court, the Hawks have an absurd offensive rating of 118. That would easily be first in the league. With him off the court, it drops to 110. However, Trae's effect on the offense doesn't even matter when you realize that the Hawks are just as bad on defense when he's on the court, where they give up about the same. When Trae sits, the offense is a lot worse, but the defense is a lot better. They hold opponents to about 110 points per 100 possessions. You can see the numbers here. Basically, it's a wash. On-off metrics are not super accurate because it depends on who else is on the floor with him. But Trae's defense has always been pretty bad. That's true from the eye test. Capella put it the best. We can't just be scoring a lot of points and the other team score the same amount of points. Everything that we're doing, we're not rewarded for it. That's completely true. The Hawks' offense is actually really good, but because their defense is so bad, they're not reaping the benefits. The wrong mentality. There's a trend across all sports that when a team has a successful season, it's very rare to see them repeat that success. The reason is because the players just lose motivation. They feel like they're above the competition, so the wins should come piling in. A lot of Hawks players seem to think this way. They believe they're better than they actually are after an incredible playoff run. Bogdanovich was asked about the struggles, to which he responded, "I think we're taking that for granted, like we're going to win because we were winning last year. That shouldn't be the mindset. We cannot say we are a good team right now, because we are not. Simple as that." John Collins confirmed this and further added on, "It starts with us believing in one another and buying in. But we've got to give a damn. We've got to give a damn for any of that to matter. We've got to care." Trae also echoed the same sentiment. He feels like the team just does not care enough to win, and are still riding the waves of their previous playoff success. It's certainly a concern. A team that's this young should not be losing any motivation to get better. It's not for a lack of talent either. It's the mindset. In the beginning of the season, the Hawks had plenty of injuries and COVID-related absences to multiple players, including Coach McMillan too. That was used as an excuse, but there's really no excuse anymore. Even when healthy, this team is a shell of what it used to be. There's also the crushing weight of expectations. The Hawks made the conference finals, but it was seen by many as a fluke. Critics felt like this team, it was good, but they got lucky with how poorly the Sixers played. Even so, prior to the start of this season, 538.com and other websites predicted the Hawks would finish with a 51-31 record, and a 92% chance to make the playoffs. That's a far stretch to where they are now. Perhaps they got too good too quickly, and now need time to realize that they need to collectively change to get back to where they want to be. Of course, everyone else got better. I don't think this needs to be said because I've said this before, but I might as well say it again anyway. The East is at its strongest it's been for a long time, and the thing is, everyone competing for the championship, those teams up there, they have very similar records. No team in the conference is showing complete dominance over the rest, but all of them are still way better than the Hawks. Most of those teams spent the offseason retooling and improving, while the Hawks kept the same roster and fell behind. There's nothing bad about keeping the same team that was 2 games away from the finals, but it is bad when this same team has hit a wall. They were banking on their younger guys to take a leap, but that hasn't happened. It's a simple fact, all the teams around them got better, while they did not. Anyway, that's all folks. Let me know your thoughts on the Atlanta Hawks. If things don't work out, I can see the front office overhauling this team, trade away some guys and rebuild around Trae with a brand new squad. You guys think they should do that? Do you think they might do that in the near future? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.